Hey, what's up, guys? Chandler here. So before we get the podcast started, there are a few things that I want to mention here for the podcast. The first part is going to be for the people watching this on YouTube. I had the opportunity to sit down with Tre Turner, the vocalist of the band Spirit Breaker. Absolutely gentleman. He's a wonderful guy, super nice, super funny. We talked a lot about music, the way he sees music nowadays, who's like his main influences for music, like vocalist-wise and like music-wise. We talked about their brand new album, Cura Nata, which is available now on Solid State Records. Just a really humble, really cool dude. So again, for those watching on YouTube, I always ask permission for the people that I talk to on my podcast if I'm able to upload the footage of us talking, and Tre said that's completely fine. You may notice that Tre is going like this a little bit. His head's going to be moving kind of in place a little bit. What happened is we were talking on Spotify, we were talking on Zoom, and for some reason the video would just freeze in place. The audio still worked, but the video sometimes would freeze, and so if you see him like making weird head things or whatever, just know that the audio worked, but the video was being kind of weird. I asked him, like, do you want me to just keep it as audio? He said, yeah, you can just keep it as the video on YouTube. So I'm going to definitely do that here. And for those listening, because for those watching on YouTube will probably notice this, Tre actually had a power outage near the end of the podcast, and so we had to cut it, and then I had to re-edit it to make it sound like nothing happened, even though his power cut out, and we do talk about that a little bit. So if you hear kind of an abrupt at the end, it just means that I had to edit two videos together into an audio to make it flow as best as possible. So that's kind of what will happen here. Tre, again, is a wonderful guy. We talked for almost about 2 hours. So again, I hope you guys enjoy this episode of the Chandler Burton Podcast with my interview of Tre Turner of Spirit Breaker. Take care, guys, and I hope you enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Chandler Burton Podcast. Turn it up to 11 and rip the knob off. This is Chandler Burton.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back to the Chandler Burton Podcast. I am your host, Chandler Burton, and today I got a super cool guest with me. We got Tre, the vocalist of the band Spirit Breaker. How you doing, dude?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Dude, I am doing fantastic. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk with me and, hopefully answer a few questions and have a good time, man. So,
of course, man. Well, yeah. I mean, this is what it's all about. So,
yeah, absolutely, for sure, dude. All right, let me go ahead and get it pulled up here. So again, what I'll have, I just have like a couple of questions. Mainly, I just want to do. I've never really interviewed a guy in a band before. Like I've done a few podcasts where, So you'll be like the first. Is that okay? Still, you're the first guy.
No, yeah.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. I've done a couple of interviews here. I interviewed one of my friends who's like a world breaking like speedrunner. So I've done that. He's a big gamer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've also done, I don't know if you know him. Do you know FYM Reacts? He's also a reaction channel. I don't know if you heard of the name.
I think I've seen him on your channel.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I've interviewed, them like that. So, but other than that, dude, yeah. But thank you again for coming on, dude. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man.
Yeah, dude. So I kind of just want to start. Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Of course. I have a friend of mine who was, I showed him a couple of your songs. He's like, dude, I can't wait for you to talk with him. I'm like, dude, yeah, he's super nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll kind of just, we'll talk about kind of how we never really met in person, but like how we kind of got talking here. So what happened is I have a YouTube channel called Chandler Burton Entertainment, and I actually found you guys on Dreambound. I do a lot of Dreambound Reactions, and I know a lot of people really like that. And I found you guys, and I've never heard you guys before, and I was like, you know what? I'll just pop on a reaction, and I'm so glad I did, dude. Because dude, Pure Fury Wonder was sick.
For a lot of people, man, Dreambound is where it all began. Which is so funny how we even got on there because I'll have you know, before Pure Fury and Wonder, we were trying to get on Dreambound since our Starfall release.
Really?
And yeah, we submitted the Starfall music video, and they were like, "Oh, we're not really interested in this."
Really?
And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." I'm like, "Okay,"
Yeah.
you know. I'm like, "Oh, that's fine." Because Dreambound's weird. Because I'm always like, you guys like the emotional stuff. Because Dreambound just posts usually primarily emotional stuff.
Right.
And then one day, and this was after they told us no, for the Starfall, and at this point, the Hello Drifter music video. They said no to that too. And then I think like a month or so later, they released Time Tunnel for the Parallel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is practically structures. I'm like, this is
Right.
like super heavy and technical.
Yeah.
I mean, it's emotional, but not like that's not the primary. So I was just like, bro, like I just don't understand why why they didn't accept Hello Drifter. Like maybe it was the video quality.
Yeah.
But we sent Pure Fury, and they were like, let's go. And we're
Nice.
like, okay, cool. So, I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, man.
It was really cool to see all the people interact with the Pure Fury and Wonder video. It sucks because I don't know if I necessarily would want Pure Fury and Wonder to be, I guess, everyone's first experience with Spirit Breaker.
Mhm.
Because I feel like, and maybe this is just like outside perspective, I guess, or inside perspective in
Yeah.
this case. It's just not, if someone asked me to like give them a song that represents us, I don't know if Pure Fury is the one that I would pick to show them.
What would you pick?
Because it's weird because okay, so A Cure for Wellness is what like composition wise is what I would like all of our stuff to sound like in terms of its very riff heavy, very fast paced drumming, more of like the techie, weird, chuggy off time breakdowns.
Yeah.
That's where I'd like to be. And I feel like Pure Fury is the total opposite of that.
Yeah.
So I feel like a happy, I guess, middle ground would be anywhere from like Hello Drifter, The Mountain Between Us, or even Starfall.
Yeah.
Because it has that riffy to breakdown to chorus to riff two to different breakdown to chorus. It has that kind of formula.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of what we're about more so than I feel like Pure Fury was like, here's all these weird techie-ish breakdowns.
Yeah.
And then like, it's weird. Pure Fury is such an odd song for me because like we thought it was going to be a dud.
Yeah.
I think it was like the first demo. We kind of were like, eh. And then like by the third demo, we're like, okay, kind of. And even when we track the very first like version to be mixed, everybody was kind of like, man, I don't really like this, bro. Like the chorus, they hated it.
Really?
Yeah, hated it. And then like I actually went back to retrack the chorus, and I think this was the first song off the album where I tried to do like multiple layers of scream singing.
Yeah.
And then we did like regular cleans behind it to make it kind of get that booming effect without throwing a crap ton of reverb on it because didn't want to do that. And we ended up liking it, but like I said, it was a weird song because we were just so iffy about it, and somehow, some way, it became the first single. It's funny how life is.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's cool, dude. Yeah, I did not expect that because again, I thought that for sure. I don't know how the music industry works. I don't know if I don't think I told you this, but when I was in high school, I was in a band. Wasn't very good, but I was a vocalist. I was a vocalist in a band called The Lighthouse, and we were just a local band. We didn't do much with it. But yeah, I have no idea how the whole music industry works. Like, I don't know how people put out singles or those types of things. So it's kind of cool to hear that insight on about that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if stuff like that is in your roster of questions, just go ahead and ask me, and I'll
Yeah,
try
man.
to answer, the best of my ability.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be able to, kind of incorporate everything here. Just as really, just kind of just have a chat, just a couple of questions here, because I really, honestly, when I like to do these podcasts, I like to bring people on, but I also like to learn. I'm one of those guys where I like to learn about, the music industry or how it all works or how like you get set up or how'd you get signed. So yeah, I have like tons of questions for you. Not like a ton, but I got a few that I'm like, I
Sure.
hope that we can have a good conversation and but yeah, man, for sure. So
This
yeah.
is year one, so I'll do the best I can.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Of course. Absolutely, man. I'm super happy for you, dude. I think to start off
Thank you.
the record's great. I mean, it's just been playing non-stop. Even it was hard because it was funny. I had to take my sister to urgent care the day the album dropped. I know for me it dropped Thursday at
Yeah.
9. Yeah. And I had to like wait. I was like, it's so hard to wait. But dude, I got home, put on the camera, rocked out the whole time, dude. Every song is just great, man.
Thank
Seriously.
you.
Yeah, dude. Cura Nata, man. It's just,
Man,
it's
I
so good.
I can't wait. I cannot wait until you find out what my least favorite songs are, because I
I'm
feel like they're gonna hurt you.
really. Oh man. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, man.
dude, we'll definitely talk about that for sure. So let me go ahead and, but yeah, that's kind of how we started talking. I reacted. You guys, all of you guys reached out and you said thank you, and I was like, they're talking to
I
me.
mean,
That was really cool,
man,
man.
like, look, I have no idea what the future holds, and I have no idea how you start as a musician with this career path, and then
Yeah.
you are a certain way. Obviously, if things go our way and we do progress in the sound of our music and as people, obviously we'll get busier
Yeah.
with the career and everything. But I don't ever want to get to a point to where I can't talk to people.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna get wild at a point if everything works out the way I want it to.
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget, for example, talking to Garrett of Silent Planet.
Mm-hmm.
We talk when he's not busy. I'll put it that way.
Right.
Getting a hold of that man is like a nightmare. Um,
That's cool. You talked to him.
but I'll
That's
never
awesome.
forget, man. Well, it's funny. I don't know if he likes when I say this out loud, but I'll say it. Truthfully, if it wasn't for him, you and I probably wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Really? Oh.
Funny enough, yeah, I'll talk about that too if you're curious about all that.
Yeah. I love to. Yeah. I love to hear about that. Absolutely.
Because I don't think we've really ever mentioned this in an interview yet. It's just it doesn't really come up that often. Every now and then, someone will bring up Satellite Earth,
Yeah.
but there's a whole story behind all of that. One of those right place, right time type of deals.
Sick.
But yeah, man, he ended up telling me, he's like, I want you to know that I have over 400 unread text messages, and he was just like, it just gets to a point to where I can't.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll never be able to get through all these messages, and I was just like, I get that.
Oh yeah.
You know, being overwhelmed. But I would like to think that if that ever happens to me, I'll have downtime on tour when I'm in the van, and then I'll at least be able to respond to people.
Yeah.
But obviously, responding to everyone is damn near impossible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have a hard time doing that now, and I'm not even in a band.
Yeah, same. Like during the album release, trying to get through messages was like absurd. But I was just like, even the announcement made me feel the worst, because on my Facebook, like when we first announced, there was a post and everything, and then it just would not stop going, and it got to a point to where there are like comments and stuff that I just never responded to. It's not that I didn't want to, but by the time I had the available time to do it, I think 2 weeks had gone by, and I was like, I just feel like if I responded to these, I just gave up.
Yeah, at least you're honest, man. I mean, that's a difficult, dude. That really is hard, man. But no, dude, I know you're a nice guy, and I know it's like no one will take it personally. It's just you're gonna, and I hope you guys blow up after this. Dude, it's funny because like a lot of bands for me that I listen to, like it's very hard to make a good First impression. Like, dude, honestly, I love Pure Fury 1, but the song that really got me, dude, and of course I'll have more questions, but the song that really got me, like, going like, wow, this band is sick, was Hello Drifter.
I was just about to say to you, like, it's probably
yeah. Oh, dude, I love that song. I love the lyrics, dude. Like, those lyrics, yeah, super relatable. And I have questions about your lyrics as well. But yeah, dude, super good song. And I'm really happy for you guys. I really am, man. I love the album. I can't stop praising it, dude, for sure. It's just,
Thank you.
yeah, man, absolutely. So, okay. So just a couple of questions here to kind of, pop it off. I'm really curious because, again, we've been talking over like message, but I don't know a lot of like how the band, kind of was created. So I guess my first question was, how was Spirit Breaker like created? Did you start it, or were you like recruited in by somebody, or how did it get started?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is semi-lengthy, but I got time. So
perfect. Awesome.
Okay, so originally, Spirit Breaker was a band. It's not even the same band, just for the sake of explanation. Spirit Breaker was a band that was originally called Motives, I believe, which is the name of another band, but we'll get to that.
Okay, cool.
So it was a band called Motives that started off with the guitarist Johnny, members who are no longer in the band, and Alex at some point. What ended up happening is they replaced their old drummer. They brought Alex in. They ended up changing the name from Motives to Faded Gray, because if you're familiar with the like early like 2012 maybe through 2015 band Motives, it's like a hardcore band, a melodic hardcore band.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like hardcore. Absolutely.
So one day, I guess they discovered a Motive song, and then they were like, we're Motives. And then I guess I wasn't in the band at the time. Yeah. So the vocalist was like, oh no. So he changed the name to Faded Gray. And then eventually there were multiple lineup changes, including the vocalist leaving. I was actually at the time in a band called Skyless, which this is a shameless plug, but if you like Spirit Breaker, chances are you'll probably like Skyless too. It was the first time I had joined a progressive metalcore like project, and it was like one of my best friends in high school, and we came together with this idea of like we were trying to mix like North Lane with a Contortionist with a band I loved called Circle of Contempt. Okay. And we were trying to like blend all that together, and we made a little EP out of it. We have plans of doing like a full-length album, but if I can get free time and escape, we'll do that and put that out. Recently, I think last year, the drummer was like, hey man, I'm just going to upload this to streaming if you want, if we're going to do projects together. So you can actually listen to that now, but he like changed the names because he was like, there's so many bands called Skyless. So I named it the name of the EP and reversed it. So it's actually called Salvation Seeker on streaming. But the name of the EP now is Skyless. But he didn't put the correct track listing, so it's all wrong. But whatever.
Okay.
We can talk about this another time. But I just brought it up for the sake of story. So at the time, the band had broke up abruptly because one of my friends, his parents wanted them to just pursue college and stuff. So he's like, I can't do this. I got to focus on school. At the exact same time, their vocalist, the vocalist of Faded Gray, just abruptly quit. So Anthony was like, yo, Anthony being the drummer of Skyless, one of my best friends, he's like, hey, I have this guy who's like decent and he can do all these different vocal styles. So maybe that's something you're looking for. I basically showed up. I pretty much wrote the song overnight, and I did that song with them and tracked it as is. And then they were like, this is awesome. So then I ended up joining the band. After I'd say 2 years, or maybe a year and a half, really, we had some lineup changes, some personal issues, and half the band ended up leaving. And then this is when we found out that Faded Gray was also a band from like the early 2000s, and again was a hardcore band.
Yeah.
And then we realized, I forgot how we found it out, but the original vocalist, he just would do this thing where he would find bands that were no longer bands, and then he would choose that name for them.
Yeah.
Because in his mind, he was like, oh, they're never going to do anything. It doesn't matter. We're just doing this for fun, whatever.
Yeah.
Which, like, is funny because none of us talked to him. So if I ever saw him, it'd be so hilarious. But, like, after that, I had a long talk with him, and I'm like, yo, bro, this is silly that this keeps happening because we were trying to get an LLC. I'm like, you know, we can't legally be any of these bands because they're already bands.
Right.
Excuse me.
No, you're good.
And so I'm a huge ABR fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, bro. And I tried to throw Metaler out there at first. And
Nice.
then we were like, man, they're like, it sounds like a melodic hardcore band, which we aren't.
Yeah.
So Metaler ended up becoming a band anyway. But we went with Spirit Breaker because we felt that everything that song stands for and everything that we want to be as people and as a band, we felt like Spirit Breaker was the best choice.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, we were like, the goal was to make completely transparent and emotional music while obviously still trying to find a way to be heavy.
Yeah.
And have that happy medium. Because we had a long talk about, I told them the first couple of songs we released would be overly positive. That was kind of a lie. As a band, the first 2 songs we ever released as Spirit Breaker was Threads and Shadow Radiant, which are like 2 different sides of the same coin. Because Threads was basically the aftermath of Shadow Radiant.
Okay.
Johnny's best friend used to be in the band with us, but when he left, it was like this huge rift because they had been doing music together for like over 10 years. So for the first time ever, he had to be in a band with, I mean, we were all friends at the time, but I can only imagine he probably looked at us as like strangers. So that, I feel like in some way, shape, or form during that time, we were all going through like different mental things and relationships and trying to learn how to progress the band forward. And at this point, there was only 3 of us in the band. Then we eventually added our friend Aaron.
Yeah.
And recorded these songs together. Obviously, now he's not in the band. He's a Sleepwaker. Which were roommates, by the way. So it's funny how that all works.
There you go.
Yeah. So, you know, after we figured out what the foundation of Spirit Breaker was going to be, we then recorded Threads and Shadow Radiant and built an album off of that. And we just decided that this whole movement would just literally be about human connection and understanding, to put it in its simplest form possible.
Yeah, man.
And we've been Spirit Breaker ever since.
That's cool. I was wondering if you got the name from August Burn Dread. I'm a huge August Burn Dread fan as well. I was like, is that? That's sick,
we don't
dude.
get asked that as much as I'd hope we'd get asked that. Which is the sad part.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think it was going to be. I was like, is that from August Burn Dread? Because I love Rescue and Restore, man. I think that album was sick. So
Rescue and Restore used to be my favorite ABR album until Phantom Anthem came out.
Dude, me too. Too. I like it better than Messengers. I know people think I'm crazy. I think that's their best album. I love Phantom Anthem.
I truly think. Okay, if you still are madly in love, and not you, but just people in general, I feel like if you're still madly in love with staple standard metalcore, which ABR is everything but that.
Yeah.
But if like, let's say in 2020, your favorite bands are like Kingdom of Giants, Wage War, like Moss of Flames, Polaris, stuff like that, which is still strictly in just the metalcore, you know, framework.
Yeah.
I could see how you're like, oh, Messengers is the best ABR album. But if you're like me and your favorite bands are, there's a Spirit Box flag, a Sentinels flag, and there's an Infinite flag. But if you're like me and you like the more proggy, techie aspect of metalcore, you're gonna be like, I love Messengers, but that's not the best album.
Yeah.
Like people, I feel like they really only like it because of all the China work and how oddly the China's recorded, so it's so dominant.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and just because it's a beater, it truly is a beater. Like
Mm-hmm.
before Currents came out with their first album, I was like, man, Messengers is like, even though I don't think it's standard metalcore, I definitely consider it technical metalcore.
Yeah.
But I was like, if we're just gonna base it in that just realm of just metalcore, I truly think that is like the best record. And then The Place I Feel Safest is like a second, because those are like the only two metalcore records that I feel like can come out in any era and still like give everything else a run for its money.
Yeah.
Because it has intricate guitar work, the solos, the super balls heavy breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Like either of those albums could come out at any time, and I'd be like, yeah, this is phenomenal.
Dude, heck yeah, man! I love The Place I Feel Safest, dude. That's awesome. I own all the. By the way, your guys' CDs on the way. I have every. I have the Currents album. I have the EP. I have like I Let the Devil In, The Way It Ends, The Place I Feel Safest. Dude, I love Currents, man. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about them enough. They're so sick, dude.
Really?
I think they're awesome. A lot of people. I mentioned them to a lot of my friends. Like, have you listened to Currents? Like, we don't know who that is. It's like, oh,
what?
I was like,
man,
like, my friends.
All right, man. So okay. So being in a band, like at some point, everyone to a degree, you become a numbers guy. Mm-hmm. Especially if you love a band. Now, I will be the first to admit I'm very transparent. So I hope none of our music friends ever ask me about their albums, because then I gotta answer honestly. No.
Yeah.
I love Currents.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily love their like recent material. I still love them.
The Way It Ends.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Not a fan.
I jammed it like 5 times because I wanted them to get the streams, but it's my thing. Same thing with I think the EPs. I Let the Devil In.
I Let the Devil In. Yeah, not a fan of that one either.
Okay, I love the song I Let the Devil In, right? Mm-hmm. And then like right after that, I'm just like, this is cool. It's really chorusy, and that's cool.
Yeah,
but obviously, since I'm like, because a lot of people don't know this unless you're like friends with me on like Facebook. Everyone thinks that I'm like a huge metalcore fan until they actually talk to me, and then I tell them how I listen to like tech death, like bands like Inferi and The Faceless, and Theos. That's not my primary stuff, but it's some of my favorites. It's like either I'm listening to Sentinels, Invent, Structures. Or lately bands like Frontier, or like older Vela Maya, stuff like that. Or I'm listening to some random tech death band. That's cool. Like for example, I thought like the new Archspire was really dope. If you know what Archspire is,
I actually just did a reaction to them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah,
because that song is them and like the Zenith Passage. They just dropped something recently, and that was really dope. Like every now and then I try to explore like some newer stuff around that realm. Like what is it? Sarcoma by Alluvial. That album's awesome. But yeah, it's so funny. Like when people come up and talk to us, like when we play shows and stuff, and they come talk to the band, you'll talk to like Alex and Johnny, and they'll talk about metalcore, or like worship stuff, or things of that nature. And then you talk to me and Connor, and everything that we're talking about has something to do with riffs.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Because like, oh man, if it was up to us, the band would sound totally different.
Really? Man, that's actually really cool. I didn't expect that at all. Yeah.
Man, okay, so if it was up to me, no one would like us, because everything would just sound like which I hope they never see this. I'm gonna say it out loud. I'm gonna purposely get myself. I hope they never see this video. But I've had the Sentinels album for like months, and like before it even got announced, and it is by far the dumbest thing I have ever heard in the best way possible.
Really?
It is the dumbest thing. Like, it's so funny because like Structures is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh man, Structures is back. It's gonna like that little 5-track EP is gonna like slaughter that Sentinels album. And I'm just like, man, I don't think anything will be. It's one of those things where it's like, how musically inclined can it get?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, this is it. We can't go any further than this. And then you hear that album, and you're just like, fine, forget it. Never mind. It's it is a mathematical experience. That's the way I can put it.
For sure, man.
Like, I literally plan on buying everything that they've released for merch for this album because I'm just like, man, it goes in. They deserve it.
Dude, I love that. That's awesome.
But yeah, man, if it was up to me, it would be like, I'd say like the closest band I've ever heard that sounds anywhere close to what I would want. Maybe not the exact same way. Like, obviously, we're always gonna have to play breakdowns, which I'm totally cool with. But if it was up to me, we would be like techie in the sense of the Parallel, like the After Image, or like Invent, which I feel like we're leaning currently with our music. We're closer towards the Invent Animate spectrum, which is cool.
Yeah,
I feel like that was the best outcome for me. But eventually, I would like our music to sound like. Have you ever heard Exoplanet by the Contortionist?
I don't think I've heard that one. No.
Man, you have to listen to that. That one is an experience. That's like, I wouldn't even, bro. Okay, so it's a deathcore album, right?
Yeah.
But the best way I could explain it to you without you hearing it is if it would be like, you ever listen to the band Fit for an Autopsy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
So imagine if half of Fit for an Autopsy, vocalists included, imagine they all joined Invent Animate.
Oh, dude, that sounds sick.
So it's like the same pretty guitar work and stuff.
Yeah.
But then these super heavy deathcore vocals and heavy deathcore breakdowns. But all of a sudden, there's a minute of just pretty acoustic cleans over distorted guitars and just drumming and just beautiful sounds. Yeah, that album came out in 2010. And I was just like, it was the first time I ever heard anything like that. That is, you definitely need to listen to that band and that album.
Sick, dude. I'll have to check it out for sure. I'll definitely listen to it, man. I love learning about new music, so I'll give it a listen. And if it's anything like that sounds sick, dude.
I will, if you want, and you're like, man, like, did I review or react to anything lately? Did I miss anything? Bro, ask me. I got you.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, if you ever want to send me something, I'll definitely do that for sure. I'd take any requests. So yeah, I'll react to that. Absolutely, man, for sure. Well, awesome, dude. Thanks for that story. I appreciate that. See, again, I love learning because I never would have thought. I thought for sure your influence would be like, just typical by the numbers, metalcore. Not that you guys are, but I figured like, like that would be. I did not expect that answer, which I thought was actually pretty cool.
Well, if I break it down, and if it's just me personally, like towards the band and stuff like that, it's a totally different answer than like music I would make. But influences for Spirit Breaker would obviously be ABR, Invent Animate, Northlane.
Yeah, definitely.
Even For Today. Alex is a huge For Today fan. He loves that.
Love For Today, dude. Dude, love it. Love For Today. Yeah.
He wants us to get Maddie on a new song so bad.
Oh, if you do, please tell him I said hi, because I've been a fan of For Today since I was like in high school. So
yeah,
that'd be cool if you came back and did something with you guys. That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna bring it up. We didn't have any guest features for this album. I kind of wanted to just be us.
Yeah.
But for the next album or even singles, I'm totally down. And I was like, bro, if you call him and he answers, because he doesn't answer his phone. Yeah. I'm like, if you call him and he answers and you say that and he says, yeah, I'm like, we'll do it.
Awesome.
It's really good for him.
Yeah.
Like, I told him he had to meet me halfway though, because like the rest of the band is like, none of them were like huge For Today fans like he was, and obviously everybody has their own person that they would want to feature on a Spirit Breaker track. Yeah. I don't think we'd ever be that type of band to where we'd have like 5 features on an album, maybe 1 or 2 if any. But I told him, I was like, all right, if we get mad, you got to meet me halfway and give me something on the opposite side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So my favorite deathcore band, just deathcore, not like technical or anything, is For an Autopsy.
Nice.
So I was like, bro, if we can get Joe, so he can like scream sing, and then I can scream sing. And I'm like, bro. So like,
would be legendary.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be dope.
Oh, that'd be so cool, man.
I would give anything to tour with that band, but I don't think like our sound would ever get us there.
I mean,
And that's what's
I think some of your songs are probably fit on that like type of tour. Like you guys got some bangers. So I mean, I could see it. That'd be really cool. Friggin' Era is going on tour. It's like Era, Dayseeker, Brand of Sacrifice. Yeah, I'm like, that's interesting that you have Brand of Sacrifice and then like Dayseeker and then you got Era. I'm like, there's someone else too, but hey, I mean, you never know.
Hollow Front, so that.
Oh, that's right. I love Hollow Front. That's true. They're coming out with a new song actually soon too. So that's awesome, man.
On the 19th, I think.
Yeah. Ooh, good job, man. Yeah, it's called Treading Water. I'm super excited. They're
well,
awesome.
I mean, we all live in Michigan, so
that's true. Yeah, that is true. Actually, that's awesome, dude. Super cool, man. Awesome. Okay, so my next question for you, I'm actually curious. So how did you learn how to like scream and sing? Because I do screaming and stuff as well. I'm not a very good singer, but I have been doing screaming vocals for a while. So I'm curious, like what were your inspirations, and like what got you kind of into it? Yeah.
It's funny because no one ever asked me like what my inspirations were back then, because you would never think because of what they are. So obviously, first and foremost, if it wasn't for ABR, I wouldn't even be in the band. So it was like 2008, and I just had heard the Messengers album for the first time, and I was like, "This is wild." And then I was listening to them, and Still Remains, his first album, like really heavy. And so I was just sitting with my friends one day. This is back when I lived in like uptown Detroit. And I was sitting with a lot of like my black friends who had no idea what metal was and all that other stuff.
Yeah, dude.
And so I was like introducing it to them. And then they're like, "Oh man, like this would be crazy. Like, you know, people can't really scream like this." Yeah. And I was like, "You know what, bro? I could do it." And then they were like, "No, you can't." And so I tried it, and it was terrible. Yeah, like so we sat around the living room, and I tried to do it. It was garbage. And then I don't know. It was weird. I had like some weird like reaction. I was like, man, like I want to be good at this, you know, for whatever reason. And I was just like, maybe if I worked on it a little bit more, I would get better at it.
Yeah.
So around that time, I had discovered deathcore. And I ended up listening to Suicide Silence' first album. I fell madly in love with Carnifex, which was like my favorite deathcore band of all time at a point. And then I found a band called Underneath the Gun, which was like a band that was like a mix of like modern metalcore and deathcore kind of meeting. Because at times it would sound more metalcore and other times it would sound more deathcore.
Yeah.
And then listening to those bands, I was like, man, I could probably do this if I just try to find myself or my sound through mimicry, actually. I tried to mimic a song by each of these bands until I could figure out some way to shape my sound, I guess. And then by the time I started getting confident, my influences, because every day I would practice a song by all of these bands. Yeah. Believe it or not. I wrestled a bear once.
Cool, man.
And solely because a lot of the techniques that Krista Cameron was using off the first album, I'm like, bro, a lot of this stuff is like really like heavy, like growl and guttural stuff that she can actually do. And I was just like, she kind of sounds better than like half of the men I listen to. I was just like, how is she doing it? Right. So I started studying like her live videos to see if I could try to like project that with my mouth and like the lip formation and things like that. After a while of like practicing Suicide Silence every day, I eventually figured out how to do deathcore highs and pig squeals from Carnifex and things like that. And then I kind of developed my mid scream by listening to a lot of Parkway Drive.
Nice.
And figuring out a better version of that sound by listening to Sirens and Sailors, actually.
Nice. They're really underrated, man.
Which is funny because none of these bands are like my favorite bands.
Yeah.
But they just, the vocal styles just spoke to me. And to go on further with Sirens and Sailors, man, I used to love that band.
Yeah, man.
Like, yeah, like in my first band, which was this band called Your Tragedy Within, I was able to play a show with them. This little crappy bar that doesn't exist anymore. And this is like right when the EP with You and I came out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that was a good time. Like I used to, man, that band was like, to me, it was like the modern techie Southern version of ABR I didn't know I wanted.
Yeah. I like that.
Bro, I was just like, this is incredible, bro, because there's blast beat and then a Southern riff and then a solo. And I'm like, and then there's cleans.
Right.
So I was sold. But they're doing a show soon in New York. So
cool.
Yeah, hopefully, you know. But yeah, once I figured that out, I figured out that I just wanted to have a decently powerful mid-range scream, and then highs, which after years of wanting to be Mike Haranica,
yeah,
because I feel like everyone goes through a Mike Haranica phase.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Prada, I would have never figured out how to utilize fry deathcore highs, which is weird because I feel like I'm pretty sure there's a million people who do it, but I don't know how often you listen to Prada, but you can hear it really in the older stuff as in like Death Throne and Zombie EP era.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
He rarely does it as a primary scream, but he does it as backing screams a lot. He does this thing where instead of his standard high that he does, because he has a high chorus scream.
Yeah.
He'll do this weird thing to alter the pitch, and it sounds like deathcore highs, but it's in the same key and frequency and all that. And I was just like, because it's so brief. I always use the song R.I.T. as an example.
Oh, yeah.
He does it a lot. And I was just like, how do you do that? And I ended up figuring that out, which I use, I think, in Pure Fury and Wonder.
Oh, yeah.
And in the Cure for Wellness, I do that technique. But I was trying to, like my deathcore highs or just highs in general, I would like them to sound like that all the time.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird thing. I'm still figuring it out.
Dude, that's awesome though, man. That's cool, man. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know if they'll ever hear this, but I actually stopped listening to Over's Prada after Death Throne, and then Zombie 2 came out, and I was like, dang, I gotta... Really? Yeah, it was weird. It was funny, I fell off a lot of bands from, like, I used to listen to a lot in high school. I am gonna be 28 next month, and so I don't know, I was thinking back, I was like, man, I should jump back into... And so after I did listen to Zombie 2, I jumped back into Devil Wears Prada, listened to some of their other stuff that just came out, and I was like, they're actually not bad. They're actually still pretty good, so that's cool.
Funny, because I wish you would have suffered how we suffered. Because, like, man, okay, so on the off chance that anyone from Prada ever watches this video, first and foremost, I'll always love that band.
Yeah.
Like, they were definitely one of the bands, like, growing up. For me, it was ABR and them, neck and neck.
Awesome. Yeah.
They were, like, my two favorite bands ever. So, like, they're like one of those bands in the realm of Bring Me the Horizon, in the sense that I feel like they never make the same album twice.
Yeah,
which I
right.
respect. But, like, I know, like, the divide started to come during Death Throne, which I really enjoy Death Throne. I hate the mix.
Yeah.
Like, I just wish that they would have gone to, like, Sturgis for that album, because I just don't like the mix at all. But,
yeah, the mix is a little weird. Yeah.
Same thing with 818. The mix is definitely better on 818, but it is a little weird.
It was weird, yeah.
But I love that album, though. I love 818. 818 is arguably my favorite Prada album.
Oh, sick.
Sick. Yeah. And then, which I got really sad because they dropped the Space EP. I hated it.
The Space.
I hated it. Like, man,
I listened. It wasn't my favorite either. No.
I have nothing, and I mean, like, Supernova's cool.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those people where it's rare that I go back to listen to any piece of music and be like, man, I want to hear this one song and not anything else.
Right.
But Space EP, I'd be like, man, after Supernova, we can just kind of turn this off. Honestly.
Dude, you're hilarious. I love it. Yeah.
Man, like, but Transit Blues,
Yeah.
I think that was a piece. Because it was like, I feel like Prada woke up one day and was like, man, what would it be like if we sounded like Under Oath?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's Transit Blues. It's that. Mm-hmm. And then the act came out.
Oh, I'm excited to hear what you had. I didn't mind they had a few songs. I really like Chemical, maybe because I don't know, I just kind of a sucker for that type of song. Did you like it? A lot of people say it's a good return to form.
So I love The Lines of Your Hands. Love that song.
Yeah.
I love I forget what it's called, but it's a song where Jeremy leads the vocals for most of the song. And it's like in between the album. And personally, I think it's one of the best Prada songs ever made. It just happens to be on the worst Prada album ever made.
Oh,
I truly think, man, I think, oh God, I feel terrible saying this. I think The Act is one of the worst metalcore records I've ever heard.
Really? Oh no, I like how you're honest, dude, because I hate when people try to sugarcoat, and I know they're on your label, so I appreciate you being honest, like just saying it like it is, dude. I appreciate that.
Because here's the thing. I say that because I don't think it's the music. The music isn't the problem. I feel like, again, if it had a different mix, I would probably feel like this is phenomenal. But like, I feel like for what I know, Prada likes to be wrong, and I respect that, and I think they're good at that. But I just think the mix for this particular album, it just didn't do it the justice, and I think a lot of people didn't get it. And I would even consider myself in that category of people that didn't get it, because people have been slandering Prada for years because Mike is changing his vocal styles or things like that. And I've had nothing but like positive things to say and have defended that band to like match arguments. But when the act gets brought up, man, I have nothing to say.
Really?
I'm just like,
oh man,
like. Somebody, like, I was saying how Prada was one of the best bands ever made, like, the other day. And then they were like, what about the act? And I was like, man, I was like, why you gotta do that?
Besides that, yeah.
Then, then Z2 happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, it was, okay, so it sucks being a huge Zombie fan, because I feel like no matter what they do, we're never going to be satisfied, because the Zombie EP, and not even just as a product, truly, I think Zombie EP is one of the best, even though it's an EP, records to ever grace metalcore.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Period. Mm-hmm. Like, if that was a full-length album, my God.
Dude, but right, dude, it's that good, man. It's so good.
But Z2 was like, do I think it's as good as Zombie EP? No, but it's like, it's its own entity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool to see Prada be heavy and try to relearn how to be heavy while doing something that wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
And like, at first, like the first couple singles, I was like, this is cool. This is all right. And then Forlorn happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that and I was like, man, this is God tier.
Yeah.
And
right.
Like,
yeah.
It takes us for that one song for you to understand everything else. And then I heard like Nora and the final song, and I was like, man, this is damn near cried. I was like, man, I'm so happy.
Yeah, dude.
Because Z2 is awesome. Like I saw like number 9 on the Billboard charts, and I was like, man, I'm so happy that a band is getting all this cool success, and they are like back. Because I felt like for a lot of like people thought that they fell off for like a long time, and I was like, man, I would never say that. I think they're just rediscovering themselves. And then I feel like the transition from Act to Z2 kind of shows that.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like as fans, I feel like sometimes we get a little impatient when bands try to reinvent or figure themselves out. And I feel like we don't give them credit for that.
Dude, for sure, man. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, dude. Absolutely. Dude, I love learning all this new thing. I had no idea. This is cool, man. It's awesome. Well, speaking of albums, let's talk about your album, dude. Am I saying that Cura Nata? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I was like, I want to make sure I got it right before I did. I was like, I hope I'm saying it right because I've been jamming
Bro,
it like all day.
the only thing, and it's so funny. It's so funny to struggle to see people say the name of it. The only track title that people pronounce incorrectly sometimes is people will call it Floris, but it's actually Floros.
Floro. See, I'm one of those guys that said it right. Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
Like I felt so bad. Like when I watched you do the reaction, I was like, it's okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have no idea what the hell a Floros is.
Mm-hmm.
So to touch up on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
please. I love that song, by the way. Well, yeah.
I know you do.
Oh yeah.
I know you do. And this is where I tell you something you don't want to hear.
Oh no.
It is like one of my least favorite songs on the record. Like least.
Is it because of the lyrics? Because they're really intense, or is it like?
Oh no. Okay. So I all right. So since now that you know that I'm like a huge like technical and prog metal fan, for me, I feel like and this is exactly why it was a single. Because it was like a simple song that had like these cool, like chuggy breakdown riffs that weren't really breakdowns, but they weren't really riffs either. But they had that heavy aggression to them, and like it repeats. So I was like, okay, cool. So I just have to have like not necessarily catchy as in generic, but just catchy enough for the listener that every time it comes in, it gets you hyped and you bob to what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I like that because it's cool and I can say things that are memorable.
Yeah.
But it's repetitive.
Mm.
And I was like, so how do I fix that? So instead of saying the same thing each time, that's why the first time it's the I watched you suck the life out of everything the first time.
Yeah.
And the second time around, it's the when you take a look in the mirror. Because I was like, okay, if it's 3 times, I'll at least have to switch it up.
Right.
In between. Because I felt like if I did 3 separate verses each time, I feel like that would be too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that would be too many lyrics for you to grab a hold of. So I was like, let's just do 2 different ones and then we'll repeat one of them. However, the mid to end section with the blast beats, that's chef's kiss to me.
Yeah,
I can't deny it. Like it was so crazy because like we were actually having a conversation about how like no one hears music the exact same way.
Right.
We were sitting down together writing that song, getting it ready for the studio. Fun fact, Floros was not originally on the album. There are 2 songs that weren't supposed to make it to the album upon our initial release, which was going to be back in 2019. That clearly didn't work.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Because Hello Drifter came out in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So we went and recorded the album in 2019, and then we remixed and remastered Hello Drifter.
Yeah.
Because everything I did vocally was based off of that song. Truly, the entire album was based off that song. We were like, oh, Hello Drifter is the sound. What can we make? How can we make 9 more songs that are like that, but not the same? Mm-hmm. So like, it's just when it comes to Floro, since it was one of the 2 songs that was like, I don't want to say we rushed it. We already had, it was a song that was written a while ago. I would say like 2 months prior to this. Mm-hmm. And then we were like, okay, the label wants us to release more singles.
Right.
But given the fact that there was only at the time 9 tracks for this record, we were like, we already released Hello Drifter, Pure Fury and Wonder, and A Cure for Wellness.
Right.
And we're just already 3 songs. So we're like, we don't really see how we can give you 2 more singles. Mm-hmm. So then we did Floros, and I was like, okay, this is a beater. It's like a crowd participation song.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, obviously, we're going to play it live. That was a no-brainer. So we were like, okay, cool. But what else can we do for another song? And then originally, this next song was called Playful Cloud. Which I like. I watch a lot of anime. I don't know if you do.
I used to, but not so much anymore. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not a huge weeb, but every now and then I'll like watch a good amount of anime.
Cool, man.
So there's one called Jujutsu Kaisen.
Mhm.
Basically, a character does a technique where finds like this triple nunchuck thing, and then a whole bunch of cool stuff happens. He grabs it and then he says, "Cursed object number 30, whatever, Playful Cloud."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh man, that's dope. That's the song." And then like our A&R was like, "No, it's not." so we talked about it, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I just don't think it like kind of encompasses what you want, especially this being like your first record." And he's like, "You don't want somebody to flip over the CD and be like, Playful Cloud, that's not heavy."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I can meet you halfway." So I was like, "Give me 5 minutes and I'll change it." And then it became Garden Clouds.
I love that song.
Yeah. We do too. The entire band loves that song. I don't know how long it'll take for that to be in sets, but it is a song that we would love to play live. Dude. Especially because I think that it's not set in stone, but I think all the songs that have cleans in them, not the scream singing cleans, but just standard cleans, I think all of those parts Hannah are just going to be those live.
Yeah.
So I think she's excited to play Playful Cloud in that aspect because there are so many clean parts.
Right.
Which is funny because for me, that song was super experimental. I at least had no idea that it was going to turn out the way it did. When we finished, I was like, either people are going to hate this or they're going to love it.
Dude, I love it, man. That's so cool. Yeah, man.
Like, so far, that is the one song, not in total, but it's definitely one of the one songs that I haven't heard a single negative thing about yet.
Awesome, dude. That's great. I hope no one's negative about your stuff because it's all great. It's all phenomenal.
You know, like, while I do appreciate that, I also understand that not everyone's going to love what you do. And, you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. I always want to hear people's perspectives because I'm critical. Yes, it is. And I'm definitely critical on our own stuff.
Yeah.
But like, let's see, what have we heard so far?
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, what I hope. By the way, every review that I've read like online, because when I look forward to an album, I always like to read because people sometimes get the album a little early and they get to review it. Dude, every one that I've read has been a 9 out of 10. Some guy said it took him on a spiritual experience, like lyrically. I was like, that's pretty sick, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is. We'll talk about that too, but yeah.
For sure. But one of my favorite ones so far. So it's about Hollow Presence. And they were like, oh, because somebody like it was in Kingdom Leaks.
Oh yeah.
So I was because I'm in their Discord. So obviously people are posting about the album. I'm reading the comments. And one of the guys he was like, oh man, it's like super edgy stuff. Like and then he posts the lyrics and he's like, yeah, man, see, I can't listen to stuff like this. And it's during the breakdown where the devil tried to bring me down that section. And he's like, I can't listen to stuff like this. It's so edgy. And I was like, this is edgy?
You're like, what? Dude, what the heck are you talking about, man?
I'm not talking about cutting myself or killing myself or anything. You know,
right. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, there's the self-loathing is heavy in Hello Drifter and Pure Fury at times. But, like, you know, I was like, all right, man, I guess it's edgy. So, like, you know.
Yeah. No.
I didn't comment. But in my mind, I'm like, I guess it's edgy.
Yeah. Dude, I never thought any of it was edgy. I just thought it was really just like inspirational, to be honest, because like, and we'll kind of jump into it here. The mindset going into the album. Now, I know I've watched a few other interviews that you've done that I think you did. I forgot who you did it with, but you were talking a lot about the lyrics, and I was really just so impressed. I even said in my reaction, I think I said it like on every song, like the lyrics, dude, are just so incredible. Like, seriously, dude, Cura Nata, I'm serious, man. Like, I know it's only been out for a little bit, but that song has really, and I'm not just saying that because you're my friend, it really has impacted me. I'm singing around my house like, when did this get so hard? Like, I'm singing it like while I'm doing like the dishes and stuff like that. I'm like, man, like, and then like, it's just, it really just, for me, dude, like, it just really impacted me because I do struggle with like depression and stuff, and I feel like songs like that
Oh no,
really.
I lost you for a second.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can now. I lost you
Okay.
for a second.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that I struggle with depression myself, so like
Understand that.
when
Okay.
when I listen to a song like that, it gives me hope to keep pushing forward, man. Like that song to me is just so vulnerable and real and just so honest, man. And it's on repeat all the. I listened to it when I went running. I just put it on repeat and I just went, dude. I just love it, man.
Is that your favorite song off the album,
Is
or
it?
is it still far?
Well, it's hard to say because I really like. Oh man, it's hard. I really like Garden of Clouds. It's probably Cura Nata is my favorite, just because again I love just. It sounds great. The lyrics are incredible. Hello Drifter's up there too, though. It really is. I like. It's hard, dude. But I'd probably say right now, Cura Nata is probably my favorite for sure.
It's funny because the original time that we finished the album, which Dark Enough, it was 8 tracks. I know you're like, what?
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
we were leaning towards the EP side of things.
Yeah.
And also, 2 songs didn't even make it to the album, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Like it's what was it? We thought we were done, and then like Johnny goes, "All right, bros, here it is. We stayed up all night with this new song," and he sent that. I was like, "Cool, we have to record this now." And it was Cura Nata, and Cura Nata originally was supposed to end the album.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't up until we got like the super final mixes of Flaros and Garden Clouds when I was like, well, these 2 songs kind of just threw a wrench in the entire track listing because I was like, I have no idea where to put these now.
Right.
There's been so many versions. There's been a version where it went Stardust Memory, Pure Fury, then Hollow Presence. There were like talks of instead of Pure Fury being the first single, Hollow Presence was going to be the first single.
Really interesting.
Man, it was like we even had this one version where instead of Stardust Memory sliding into Pure Fury, it slid into Hollow Presence.
That is so crazy. Yeah.
Man, so you know how it's Color Me Immortal?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, Stardust Memory would have ended with I See the Weakness over and over again. Gotcha. And then it would do.
Okay.
But yeah. It really came down to the fact that I think myself and the rest of the band was just like, Color Me Immortal is just such a line.
Oh yeah.
So we're just like, I was like, I feel like this will hit harder than I See the Weakness. I mean, I See the Weakness is easier to understand.
Yeah.
But I feel like Color Me Immortal is more empowering because what I mean by Color Me Immortal, it's a concept.
Mm-hmm.
The concept in which the world is vibrant and full of color. And what I mean by Color Me Immortal is I want to understand and be surrounded by all things that are both raw and fruitful of like knowledge and compassion, I guess. But I mean that infinitely. And that's why it's Color Me Immortal, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah.
Which Color Me Immortal for me personally is the theme of the entire album. So like, you know how like bands have their quotes. Like for the longest time, Silent Planets was trade your certainty for awe. Sleepwakers is take your sleep.
Yeah.
Ours would be in this case, Color Me Immortal. But somehow, some way, I found a new one for like the new album, which is Sorrow into Sound.
Sick.
But like I have to quit saying it because I've like put it on social media. I was like, I quit saying that and just write it down in the note. Yeah, so when this cycle comes out, we'll just run with that.
Sick. That's awesome.
But yeah, man. Like you know, I try to. I don't ever want to try too hard to be creative, but I definitely want to do things that set ourselves apart from everyone else.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's awesome. Who'd you guys record with?
I feel like you're expecting me to say like some famous or like well-known producer.
No.
But have you ever heard of the band Boys of Fall?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're friends with all of them.
Cool.
The vocalist is our producer.
Oh, sick. That's awesome, dude. That's really
Yeah.
cool. That's
Yeah,
really,
he's
really
actually
cool.
anything that Spirit Breaker has ever done, he's recorded.
Oh, everything. Wow. That's sick, dude.
Not the Faded Gray and beyond that, but everything Spirit Breaker wise, he's recorded.
Awesome, dude. That's actually really cool. That's great. Did you does he have like a place at his house, or did you guys go to like a studio somewhere, or?
All right, so funny story.
Okay.
So not only is he in Boys of Fall, he's also a freaking mortician.
Seriously?
And a producer. Yeah. Okay, so check this out.
That.
So the first album, Human Nature, we went to go record that. He was in there's a place in Michigan called Trenton, Michigan, which is like so far from me currently.
Yeah.
It's like in the middle of nowhere. And his family owns like a funeral home, and they own so he had a studio set up in one of the locations that's like closer to Ohio, and then the other location was weird because we'd enter the garage area, and like you go past these rooms, which I'm pretty sure were like the rooms with the bodies and stuff. And then you go further, and then there's this nice, pretty wooden door, and you open it, and there's the studio. And there's like, like he had a drum room, and he had a vocal booth, and then his massive like area with like couches and his computers and his like and like that was my favorite one because that one had everything he needed. Then he bought a house in a different city that's actually closer. And this house is where Cura Nata was recorded. But at some point, he just decided that, juggling all of that just was too much for him.
Sure.
And he just wanted to focus on being in his band and mixing. And he quit working in the morgue for a while and then got back into it.
Right.
And when he got back into it, he sold that house that Cura Nata was recorded in.
Okay.
Which is funny because Garden of Clouds and Floros aren't live drums. Those are all written drums that Alex just. So we just sent him MIDI files for those two songs, but everything else was tracked in his new home. Yeah. Which unfortunately doesn't have a drum room, and that's why we had to send the files over. Yeah. Which sucks, but like, because it's so funny because we talked about before, like, how we would consider doing album 3 with him, but he doesn't have like the drumming room. Right. And while like, of course, being one of my friends, I would hope when people see that it was recorded by Michael Martinson, they'll hit him up for work and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And maybe that'll get him back into it. But I think we might record with the guitarist of Hollow Front for the next record. Oh, sick. Which is his name's Lee Albrecht. Don't quote me on this though, because I'm not sure.
Oh, for sure.
Because
if
if we get to a point to where someone says Will Putney, that is where I am going.
Dude, that would be huge. That would be awesome.
He's recorded. He's done like most of my favorite albums of all time.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's great. That's cool, man. I hope that happens for you one day, man. That'd be super cool. Will Putney's great, dude. That would be super awesome.
That's a dream.
That'd be great, dude. Awesome, man. Okay, well, I just have just like a few more questions, and we'll kind of
Don't be afraid to ask me whatever, bro.
You're awesome, dude. I appreciate it, man. I wrote it down on my phone, just like all the questions I wanted to make sure to ask, and so I was like, okay, I gotta make sure I ask everything I need, and make sure he still has a whole night to enjoy to himself. So, I still just a few more here. So I'm really curious. How did Solid State like find you guys? Like, I don't even know how the process works of signing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So now I can tell you that little story.
Awesome.
Okay, so Now, I'm gonna say this like first because it was crazy as hell for me to hear this.
Yeah.
So before before we started talking to them, one of the things that we got back is like, yeah, we've known who you were for a while. And we're like, what? And they're like, yeah. They're like, yeah, we kind of see everything. And he was like, we just wanted to see what you were gonna do next. And it was very vague for like the longest time. And we're like, okay. So I just wanted to throw the fact out there that they knew who we were before we knew that they knew who we were.
Cool.
So one day we played a show at a hookah lounge, which is wild in itself.
Yeah.
And this would be the first time at Spirit Breaker that we played with Silent Planet. But this would be the second time that half the band has played with Silent Planet. Every year, not anymore, but every year. So from 2015 prior, we had this festival called Bloodfest. And Bloodfest was held in a college. And basically they would open all the classrooms, take the desks out, and they would put like mini stages inside the classrooms. So we'd play in classrooms or in lunchrooms. It was really dope.
Yeah.
And we got to see, I think I saw Silent Planet for the first time at Bloodfest. And it was crazy because, being a huge fanboy, we were like, oh, Garrett, can you watch our set?
Yeah.
And it was cool. He did watch it. He didn't watch the whole thing, but he watched some of it.
Yeah.
And it was dope. And it's funny because for years to come, he had no idea that we were Faded Gray. And one day we brought it up and he's like, oh my God, and it blew his mind.
Yeah.
But so like moving on back to the hookah lounge, this show only had 4 bands because Silent Planet did a tour, and then they had I think I want to say like maybe 10 to 5 off days where it was just Silent Planet with some locals to fill the spot. And their Michigan date, the promoter was like, yo, I'm just going to take this hat and I'm going to write your names on pieces of paper. He was like, we're not, because there's not a lot of you, so we're not going to do by ticket sales. He's like, I'm just going to pull you from a hat. And what spot you get is what spot you get. So by the luck of the draw, we got to play right before Silent Planet.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, like we just got lucky. And then it's so funny because they didn't watch the other 2 bands. I think Garrett tried to, but I will say that the other bands we played with were, I feel bad, but none of those bands are around anymore.
Yeah.
Which sucks because it kind of goes with what he said to me later on. But so we play. And I want to say this is like our 6th show, maybe as Spirit Breaker. And he comes up to us and he straight up was like, I'll be honest, a lot of bands, when we get the opportunity to play with smaller bands that are local in small venues like this, he was like, honestly, a lot of them are disappointing.
Yeah.
And he said it doesn't even really have anything to do with them not being good. But he was saying, like, you can tell the difference between a local band that wants to be more than a local band and then a local band that's just a band for the sake of being a band. And he said that they would come across the latter more than the former. And it was like sad to see how like all these bands didn't really want this as a career.
Right.
And so he was like, but us, he was like, there's like so much potential in what you guys have. And, he said good things about our stage presence and things like that.
Awesome.
And, so of course, as any young band should, I just had thousands of questions for him.
Right.
Like, what can we do to get to the next level? Who do we need to talk to figure things out to be better? How can we market ourselves as a band? And funny enough, a lot of things that I asked, I realized that there's no way he could have answered because this was right before not the night God slept, but what's the name of the second album? Everything Was Sound. This is right before Everything Was Sound came out.
Yeah.
So they were still relatively a new band.
Right.
But you know, we made our connection. He gave us like his number, and he was like, you know, if you guys want to like maybe play another show or something, you know, and nothing wild or promising, like to tour with you or anything crazy like that. But you know, just to keep, and that was really cool. And we would go to play another show with them 2 years later, and this time it would be on a tour they were with. It was them, Veil of Maya, Prada, and not Thousand Below, but I can't remember that band's name. But they're like a weird post-hardcore Under Oath type band.
It's not Thousand Below, you said?
It's not Thousand Below, but I swear they have a name similar to that.
Oh.
But yeah, so it was that tour back in 2017, and we were able to open one of the shows, the Detroit date, and we had been talking to Garrett for a while about like talking to his A&R, which is now our A&R. But you know, he was like, I'm going to give you this guy's email, and he was like, I'm going to press hard for him to get to know you. I can't promise you anything, but maybe talking to him will kind of open doors for what you need to do next if you want to take it to the next step.
Yeah.
So from 2020, early 2017, up until now, we have been talking to this same person every year. And it's so funny because he was like, Garrett was like, now you guys are ready, right? So we're like, oh, it's going to happen. This is it.
Yeah.
And I was 18. And then it was like, every time we sent him any update, his response kind of was like, that's sick, but what else are you going to do?
Right.
And then we were like, tour? And he was like, yeah, I need you guys to tour a lot to know that you can tour a lot. Because, you know, I don't know if it was him who said it, but I spoke to someone who was in the position I wanted to be in. And they were like, labels also want to see that they can invest in you. And all of a sudden you're on the road and you're not like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then all thousands of dollars was for nothing.
Right.
So, you know, which I understand that. No one wants to be like, yeah, bro, we'll sign you. And then after 2 months of touring, you can't do it. So now we wasted all this money on your album.
Right.
So we did our best to try to get like week runs to 2 week runs to maybe 4 days here and there, things like that. And it was hard. You know, sometimes it was really fun and like some of the best moments ever. Other times it was, you know, gut wrenching. But you know, that comes with it. You can't expect all of the glory days and all the good things to come if you're not willing to play in front of like 5 people.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand. Yeah. So finally, 2019 comes and we have it all planned out to start dropping songs, but we wanted to like save up a little bit more money.
Right.
And then we ended up having like people leave the band actually. And like, I don't know if we'll ever like disclose that on like interviews. It's something I feel like I have to talk to the band about. But just know that there was like some disagreements, and you know, someone ended up leaving. But the OG lineup minus Aaron is pretty much back in the band, just minus him. Okay. Which there's no bad blood between him. Yeah. It's just he couldn't be in both bands because of politics.
Right.
So Sleepwaker was kind of more of the sound that he wanted to pursue, so that's why he ended up joining that band. Because he's like in the lows and things like that, and they kind of are going for that spectrum. So
yeah.
So finally, 2020 comes, and we're like, cool. We're gonna drop Pure Fury. We're gonna drop Pure for Wellness, and then Hollow Presence is gonna be the final music video, and then we'll announce the album. And that didn't happen
Mm-hmm.
because we dropped Pure Fury and A Cure for Wellness. And then all of a sudden the label's like, so what are you guys doing? And then we're literally like, just, gonna drop the album in a couple months. And they're like, no, you're not.
Really?
Yeah, because they were like, it's so funny because we told them our whole release plan and release window.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, but what if it came out in 2021? Mind you, this is like June. And we're like 2021.
Yeah.
And that's a whole, like, we're barely halfway into 2020. And they're like, yeah, this is going to come out next year. And then we're like, okay, so like when? And they're like, probably like June.
Really?
And I'm like, man, like, I just feel like that's, it sucked because it felt like, again, the fact that Hello Drifter came out in 2018,
Right.
especially the fact that it was actually recorded in 2017. People don't know that.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah. This was, okay, so Human Nature was recorded summer of 2016. It didn't come out. Yeah, came out February 2017.
Dang.
I want to say we did Hello Drifter in July of 2017, and didn't start playing it until late fall. And then we released it in May of 2018.
Dang, dude! Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh my god! Just to let you know.
Yeah.
A Cure for Wellness instrumentally was written late 2016.
Wow.
The Mountain Between Us has like 10 different versions, and the original one was also written in 2016.
Wow.
The Mountain Between Us actually got scrapped halfway through like the writing process, and I had to like beg Johnny to bring it back to like to be one of the songs.
Yeah.
Because he was just like, man, I just hate this song. And I was like, look, bro, I hear it. I was like, I know you don't hear it right now, but I'm telling you, it's there.
Yeah.
Lux Nova is like the only song that only has like a version and a half. Like we barely edited that song.
Mm-hmm.
The way it is now is kind of the way it's always been.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Which is weird because again, that's one of the songs that was written for the album. Mm-hmm. But it was just one of those things that worked out. So my point in saying all this is, after like 3 years of like, yeah, man, it's gonna come out. You finally get to 2020, and then all of a sudden everyone's telling you no, it's not. And it's weird because you have this weird mindset of like, are these songs outdated because it's taken this long?
Yeah.
Are people gonna like them now because it's been such a long time? How much will music evolve by the time that it comes out? And everything changed. As you can see, Hollow Presence wasn't the final music video.
Yeah.
Which it's one of my favorite songs of the album, so I wanted it to have more of a presence. Mm-hmm. But we, right after Pure Fury and Wonder, we left everything to voting. And the consensus was Floros and The Mountain Between Us. So that's why they're singles, because they were voted, not because we necessarily thought that certain songs were better. It just seemed like, from an audience standpoint, we thought you guys would like Floros and The Mountain Between Us more. Mm-hmm. Now, had we got signed a little like before Cure for Wellness came out, there'd probably be a music video for that, and that would have been like more of a streamlined mainstream song for the album. But it basically, we didn't market it the way that we should have. So for the sake of numbers, it was pulled from the YouTube, or it was pulled from Spotify, because the label was like, we should have marketed this better, without saying that. And then they were like, probably would have did better. So we're just going to remove it so it isn't a single. And then we're going to put Floros as a single instead.
Right.
And we were like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's politics, right? It's funny how that works.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Again, it's so cool to learn about all this, because again, I have no idea how the music industry like works. So I think it's really cool that you're probably still learning a little bit too. Yeah.
Because like I said, like, so moving back in time, because we've had several meetings with Garrett.
Yeah.
And meetings with our A&R, and then it kind of was like, okay, so we're done here, right? And then I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, he told you that we were dope. And you said, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so what else do I have to do? And it kind of was like, he never said this, but it started to feel like you would look around, and then it kind of felt like Garrett was like, I kind of did everything I was supposed to do.
Right.
And it was like, and I felt bad because it's like you were expecting so much, because obviously we all want the same thing.
Yeah.
But I do respect the label for being like, we're not so sure you're ready for that. And looking back on it, like, not to, I guess, spit all over our own progress, but man, like Human Nature compared to Cura Nata is just like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time I think about it, I was like, is that like a label worthy album? I think Human Nature on paper, yes, but certain things that we did on that album, I just don't. I feel like it's so immature for certain songs, and I just wish. We make jokes all the time about re-recording it.
Be cool.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That'd be really cool, man. I totally jam it, dude. Yeah.
Well, it all happened when okay, first Silent Planet re-recorded The Night God Slept.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, I love that album. I don't love it on recording, but the re-recording I absolutely love because it has that punch that the original version doesn't have.
Right.
And then ABR, they redid Leveler.
Yep.
I like that album because I pretty much love all their albums except Guardians. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah. Man.
That's cool, bro. That's all good, man. I
freaking tried. And as them being like my number one for so long, I was like, Guardians isn't bad. Yeah. It just felt like, maybe, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but Guardians feels like if there was a timeline where Constellations came out and then Guardians came right after it,
yeah,
that would make sense. But it feels like somebody went back in time and ripped it from the timeline and then misplaced it.
That makes sense.
Because like, the album leans more towards a more classic ABR sound.
Definitely. Oh yeah.
But when your last album is Phantom freaking Anthem,
dude,
and then we go to Guardians, I was like, this just kind of feels super watered down, which is funny because in all the interviews they're like, yeah, we kind of toned it down. We wanted to play simpler stuff. And then I heard Guardians, I was like, you weren't kidding. Because this is definitely, I was like, this sounds like something y'all would have dropped in like 2010.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I can hear that for sure.
Because like there are some like slappers on that album, but it just didn't, other than like a couple tracks like Defender,
right?
Or Lighthouse.
I like Lighthouse.
Lighthouse I feel like Lighthouse should have never went on that album.
Really? Yeah.
Like because instrumentally, it's more techy. It does everything I love that they do.
Right.
So I was mad that I was like, man, in order to listen to this song, I got to go to an album I don't really care about that much.
That's true. Yeah. What do you think about Bloodletter then? Everyone seemed to like that song. Do you like Bloodletter?
He asked the question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You asked the ultimate question. All right, man. Since ABR is like my favorite band ever, I feel like I should get a free pass to slander them as much as I want.
There you go.
It's the worst ABR song ever written. I'm sorry. And I'll tell you why. All right, so ABR has a level of intricacy and technicality that I feel like at some point every ABR fan is aware of, and that we all know and love. And I feel like each one of them is musically sound in their musicianship.
Oh yeah.
I always feel like JB's always trying to like take it to the next level. Same thing with Matt, so on and so forth. So Bloodletter sounds like, and how can I put this? Because you'll probably figure out I'm not a huge fan of them either. Bloodletter sounds like, you ever heard the album Creation Destruction by Fit for a King?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Fit for a King fan.
All right, man. So I'm about to let you down.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So while I think Fifth Ward King is an amazing band,
Yeah.
truly, they're just not for me.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think Death Grip is an amazing record.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, and like so many people who knows how much I like don't listen to Fifth Ward King, it blows their mind when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, to me, that was the end all be all for their sound. They did everything that I've ever wanted that band to do on that album.
Yeah.
And then after that, they were like, eh. But
No, that's cool, man.
it sounds like if Fit for a King came into the studio with ABR and then they wrote a song off Creation and Destruction. And then JB was like, let me solo on it. And then Matt was like, let me play drums. That is what Bloodlust sounds like.
I can hear that a little bit. Absolutely. Yeah.
But it's like compared to like ABR being a repetitive band is not even, I don't even know if that's something you could say out loud. It's because it's so not what they do.
Right.
So when I heard this weird song that had a whole bunch of bends, which ABR doesn't do bends, like it's just a whole bunch of bends and like the same riff over and over. And then at the last minute, JB starts soloing and there's like techie parts. And I was like, this just doesn't, like, I know people loved it because it was like, oh, it's ABR being punchy and just break down for like once in their entire career. But it's simple. So it's like easy to listen to.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I understand why y'all love it because of those things. But the same reasons why people love it is the same reason why I hate it.
That's fair, dude. That's totally fair.
Like, man, I'm just gonna throw in back burner so I can wash this out of my mouth.
Yeah.
No, I feel like I might be a little too harsh.
No, dude.
Because
I appreciate the honesty.
Because like for a lot of fans who like hate on Guardians, the one thing that I'll say that everyone doesn't seem to say is personally, I think Defender is one of the best ABR songs ever made.
I love that song. Yeah. That's a cool song.
Defender is fantastic, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my favorite band slander for today.
No, that's cool, man. That's actually really cool. Again, I like people are honest, and it's totally cool. Like Guardians wasn't my favorite either. Phantom Anthem was still, without question, my favorite. But no, dude. I mean, I kind of agree with you, man. I was like, everyone seemed to really praise Guardians, but I was like, it's fine, it's okay. But yeah, dude, not my favorite. It's not my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is, though, man. Everyone has their own opinion, so that's cool, dude. That's awesome. So okay. We kind of talked about this a little bit, but I do want to ask this. So, what is your favorite song on Cura Nata? What's your least favorite? I don't know if your least favorite is what we already talked about, or yeah, I'm curious to hear that.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, so since a couple months before the release of the album, you know, where you do the thing where you let some of your best friends and closest friends hear some of the tracks.
Yeah.
From then to after the release, it has changed because before my least favorite song was for sure Inhabitant. And I don't know if that blows your mind.
It kind of does because I love that song. It's heavy and it's so catchy. That's crazy, man. Yeah.
Okay, so check this out. When we first did the album, Inhabitant had like 7 different versions. And it's always been like super lengthy. It's always been like from 5 minutes and a half to 4 minutes and a half, always in between that. And we've changed the main riff section so many times. We've tried to add more riffs. And it was like, no matter what we did, the very first version of Inhabitant was like my favorite because it showed the potential of it. But it was like, once it was time to compose the actual song, it just wasn't what any of us thought it would be. Like there's an Inhabitant demo where the lyrics aren't even the same. Like, cause we went, it's a friend of mine. He's the drummer of a band called Loser.
Okay.
And we went and I demoed the entire Cura Nata album with him just so we could see what it would sound like, because nothing that we've ever done as a band together was demoed vocally. It would be like, here's my lyrics. We go to the studio. I track it. What you hear me do in the studio is just what you've ever heard me do the first time for any of the songs. So we tried the new approach of demoing, and I don't know what it was about Inhabitant, but I hated all of my vocal parts. I hated all of the lyrics. The only thing that stayed the same in the demo and the current version is actually the chorus. That didn't change.
Okay.
Because even though I super dislike that song, I always thought the chorus was like undeniably a really good chorus.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's super hard to do live. Because it's like I'm just holding those notes for so long.
Right.
But I do have more respect for it now. Obviously, I do really like the lyrical choice I used because I feel like they're very true, I guess, and very heartfelt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
And it does riff hard. It is heavy.
Oh yeah.
It's there's like the weird off time, almost like after the burial chuggy part at the end that I know everyone loves. So after listening to it a lot more, I was like, okay, having it.
Yeah.
I have respect for that song.
Cool.
So it's definitely between Inhabitant and Flowers.
Okay.
Which I definitely don't feel the way I feel about Flowers and how I was with Inhabitant.
Yeah.
It's just that I think, while I think Flowers is legitimately a good song, I can't say that. It just isn't, it doesn't show you enough of what Spirit Breaker is, which is my problem.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you think Spirit Breaker, you think Pure Fury, Cure for Loneliness, and Mountain Between Us, Hello Drifter.
Yeah.
And Flowers is like lacking so much from all of those songs. Like I think, had we had more time with Flowers, it would have become similar to Pure Fury, a very short song, but there's enough dynamic going on that you don't feel like it doesn't feel like a weak song, because I don't think Pure Fury 1 is a weak song by any means. But at the time I did it. But Flowers, I think, because we just didn't have enough time to sit down and like flesh it out more,
gotcha,
that it isn't as strong as I want it to be.
Okay.
I do think that the ending half makes up for what the song lacks in terms of like riffs and like composition and things like that. But my favorite song, which it breaks my heart because I feel like no one like is gonna love this song like I do. But Lux Nova is my favorite song.
That is a good song, yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like hands down, it's definitely Lux Nova.
Awesome. That's really cool. I hope you guys get to play that live, dude. That'll be really sick. So
man, I don't know. I don't know. It's like it's definitely the other members of the band, it's not their favorite song. I think the only person who's like, I think Hannah appreciates Lux Nova like I do.
Yeah.
But that's
interesting. That's a good song though, man. I mean, I love the whole record, so I'm like, I would want you to play the whole thing. But do you guys have any tours coming up? Are you allowed to talk about or anything set? Or if you can't, I understand. No, it's okay. I don't want you to get in trouble.
I don't know. I have to think, because I mean, there's like, okay, well, this one doesn't count because this one isn't. We do have a 4-day run that I actually got word about today, surprisingly. I'll tell you who it is if you can guess, which I know, like, because I'm not going to give you any like details on who it is. But
oh man, okay.
It's a super Christian band, and they released something unbearably heavy recently, and that is all I can give you.
Okay. Well, I may have to ponder on it. Maybe I'll message you and I'll figure it out. I don't know. I don't know who it would be. I don't know who would be offhand. Super Christian, really heavy. Dude, I don't know. You have to let me think about it. I actually don't know who that could be. But I'm excited for you, dude. I'm telling you, if you guys ever, which I hope you do, if you ever come through Portland, Oregon, let me know, and we'll hopefully grab you guys something to eat, pay for some food, and I live in the Washington area, but I live right on the border of Portland, Oregon, so I go there for all my shows. So if you guys ever end up there, you have to let me know. And yeah, dude, I'll take you guys out to eat or we can say hi, hang out. That'd be really cool. Of course, cool to see you guys play. So
that's nice of you. You don't have to buy us food though, but hangs would be.
Dude, I would. Not a
I
problem, dude.
appreciate that.
Yeah, well, what? Yeah, of course we'll hang out. But yeah, dude, I'd totally buy you guys food. I mean, you're on the road, playing these awesome shows. I'm like, dude, at least I can do is like buy you guys food. I mean, or get you something,
Look,
dude.
man, if you want to put food in my face, I will eat it.
Yeah, man. Do you have a favorite?
Uh, I'm a simple man, honestly. Like I feel like pizza is the way to anyone's heart, truly.
Perfect. Me too, brother. Me
But
too.
yeah, man, like a burger is cool. Like
Same.
don't get me wrong, I like bougie stuff too, but like primarily, I'm a simple guy. Like,
I love that, dude. Me too, man. Yeah, I love
can you
wings, steak, burgers, pizza.
can you imagine if I was like, yeah, bro, bring us sushi? Like no,
I mean, if you wanted me to, I would.
no, that's all right.
Yeah, I would, man. You guys are so nice. All of you guys are. Seriously, you guys
Thank
are
you.
great people. So, yeah, man.
I think we have it isn't set in stone. I don't think I'm allowed to say what bands it is, but I can at least say that they're on our label. We have something coming up. I want to say, earlier on next year. We're still fleshing out the details for that.
Cool, man. Yeah, I won't force you to say anything you're not allowed to say.
Well, this I have to keep it vague.
Yeah.
There are projections, and I feel like Oregon is on like the projection.
Mm-hmm.
That's possible.
Yeah.
I'll have to like check in on that. I can at least like message you like, hey, bro, I looked at it. There is a that has on there, and I can at least keep you posted for that.
Cool, man. That'd be awesome.
So there's that. There's the 4-day thing.
Yeah.
That you haven't figured out yet.
No,
but
I still
that. Yeah, unfortunately, that's like nowhere near you. Like those 4 dates, there's nowhere near you.
That's okay.
The other one, is cool because it's like in the Mayish area, and there's like some smaller prog metalcore bands in there. So I'm like really, I won't say who they are, but I can at least say one of them is on Sharp Tone. And I like man. Sharp Tone has like a decent amount of like progcore bands on there, so I feel like you would be trying to figure this out for a good minute.
I probably would. Maybe tonight I'll take a look on their website and I'll see who. I'll take a look. So, yeah, man, I'll try to figure it out.
It isn't obviously because one, they're not smaller, so it isn't Loathe.
Okay.
But if it was, man, I wouldn't even brought this up if it was Loathe. I'd be like, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's kind of tough right now. I feel like all of our like stuff will probably come where if more people dig the album or if they like it, and hopefully we get more offers from that because obviously A, we want to tour because that's how we grow.
Right.
B, we need to tour because that's how we grow.
Absolutely.
But it's like COVID has made everything so congested and weird.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Like we were talking to Jeremy of Earthgrounds. I'd like to consider Jeremy one of our friends. We played a show together and we all kind of bonded. That was cool. He's like fantastic at booking. He's just been everywhere and has been like solo booking like Earthgrounds for years. So he was talking about just booking for them has been a nightmare because everything's so congested.
Yeah.
Like in Michigan, I think we have Earthgrounds, Lorna Shore, Silent Planet, and maybe ABR all within a 2-week span.
Wow. Dang, dude.
Like I want to say in September. In September there is literally like a show every other day.
Dang,
like it's ridiculous. And I'm like, you can't even afford to go to them. I'm like, it's so.
Yeah.
Like I think the only shows I'm going to see this year so far, I think we're going to go see Earthgrounds. I'm obviously going to go see Sentinels because I have to.
Oh right, of course. Yeah.
If And Hell Follow With decides to play a show, I will come and like see that
Mhm.
because I love Handheld Follow With. They've been one of my favorite deathcore bands for an eternity. And because I know no one from that band is going to watch this, I am on the new album, and
Oh,
it's pretty.
that's awesome, dude.
And it's like, so you get to hear what it would be like if I was in a deathcore band for like a small like moment.
Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. That's super exciting. That's cool, dude. Yeah, man. Oh, I'm super excited for you, dude, with all that coming on, dude. I will, I'll definitely keep an eye out. I'll try to figure out who that one band is. And, dude, I really only have one last question for you, dude. First
Okay.
of all, I appreciate everything. Seriously, I learned a lot tonight, and I had a great conversation with the dude. You're awesome. Yeah, man, absolutely. You're super cool. You're super nice, really down to earth. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. I was a little nervous about doing this. Like, I'm talking to a guy in a signed band. And
Man,
I know, like I know, but it's like, dude, if to me, it's like that's so that's like super cool, man. Like just you taking the time to just say hi and yeah, man.
um, like I said, man, like I hope 5 years from now I'm still the same version of me.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that, dude.
and I hope that if my biggest hope is that if I ever become someone that I'm not supposed to be, that all the people I love who are close to me will like set me aside and be like, "Yo, bro, this isn't the path you want to take."
Yeah, man.
And hopefully, hopefully they can correct me or like help me out.
Yeah, man.
Um, but it's I know like other musicians are busier,
Hmm.
but the reason why we do this in the first place is to be able to connect with people.
Yeah, man.
That's why I do it. I can't speak for everyone else.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
Yeah.
but I don't want anyone to ever look at me like I'm just not an everyday person, because
Yeah. Yeah.
like don't get me wrong, I'll never forget like I don't ever want to stop being a super fan because
Yeah.
I love music, I love this stuff. But
Mhm.
like I'll never forget where I was like, man, 17 years old and I'm at Warped
Right.
Tour and Mike Haranica like walks out. And this is my first time ever being at a show.
Hmm.
So he walks out and I'm like, oh hi Mike, like really loud, and I wave at him. He looks at me like,
Yeah.
bro, who.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like I felt so awkward and dumb, and I was like, man, was that weird? Like maybe it
Yeah.
was weird. And then I was like, I realized that like it's so weird, the whole fan versus fan person dynamic.
Hmm.
But I realized like I was like, man, I just got to be nice and like just wave to people and just smile and just
I
be
love
cool
that.
and make them feel comfortable,
Yeah, dude.
because I don't want anyone to ever feel weird or awkward talking to me.
Yeah,
And
man. Yeah.
there are even times as a musician where you um like primarily I'd like to think I'm an ambivert, but sometimes I have introverted tendencies,
Hmm.
and sometimes you just have those shows, especially if you're doing like a small run or like a 2 week tour,
Yeah.
and you get kind of drained by like day 5, and it's like you can't really just associate.
Hmm.
But sometimes you do. I mean, you're human, you don't have the mental capacity anymore. And then
Right.
people get the wrong impression of you, and they're like, "Oh, well, I met Trey this day, and he's kind of, excuse my language, a dickhead."
No.
And I'm like, "Oh, like
Yeah.
I was just not feeling social interaction, so I kind of was
Right.
standoffish." But
Yeah.
I think if I ever get like that, I'll make a tweet and be like, "Hey, just so you guys know, I'm not all there today, but
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, man.
um, but I don't know. Everybody's just going through stuff. I just feel like it helps if we can all find a way to be transparent about it.
I like that, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Now that I know you, okay, I'm just like, if you had an off day, I'm like, no, I get it, dude. We all have those. We all have that. Of
Yeah.
course, we all have that. So, yeah, dude. I appreciate, and I really appreciate you just being honest with me and just making me laugh. And yeah, dude, I love talking about music. Yeah, dude, it's been great, man. And then really, my last question, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but what do you like to do? What do you like to do in your spare time? Like, what do you like to do for fun?
What do I like to do for fun? Okay. So obviously, I'm a huge Gundam fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know what Gundam is.
I'm kind of familiar. I think my friend's really into that kind of stuff, so
Okay.
familiar. Yeah.
So Gundam has these model kits, and they're referred to as Gunpla. Gunpla stands for Gundam Plastic Models.
Mm-hmm.
So Gundam is a huge anime franchise about giant robots, and it's basically there's a whole bunch of war and politics and like battling for resources and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or like land. And basically, Gundam spawned multiple series from the original series. It's kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
Kind of like there's a main Gundam timeline called the Universal Century,
Mm-hmm.
where each Gundam series corresponds with the next. And then they were like, well, we realized we made something crazy, so now we're just going to make separate Gundam universes that are like 50 episodes
Yeah.
that are only applicable to those 50 episodes. So becoming a huge Gundam fan, it's spread in the Spirit Breaker. Stardust Memory is a reference to a Gundam anime called Stardust Memory.
Oh,
Um,
cool. That's awesome, man.
it's actually called, it's like Mobile Suit Gundam 83
Mm-hmm.
Stardust Memory.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. And then Floros is from Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans.
Mm-hmm.
And Floros is not the main Gundam, but it is one of the main Gundams that actually is destroyed in the second half of the series.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why Floros is called Floros is if you've watched any of the interviews I've done so far, you probably already know this.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
about someone I used to be best friends with, he built the kit for me. Um, you know, that song is about how the two of us like grew apart.
Yeah.
Um, and that was like the last thing I had to remember him by, but it didn't end on good terms. So I didn't want to look at something I loved every day and be reminded of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I repainted it, rebuilt it to make it kind of my own thing and celebrate something I made for me instead of vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called Floros for that reason. It actually has nothing, the lyrics have nothing to do with the Gundam itself. That's worked out.
Mm-hmm. That's why I had a feeling. I listened to it a few more times, like, when I was reading through the lyrics, I was like, I don't think it has anything. Because I looked up what it was after. I was like, I don't know exactly what this is. I was like, oh, okay. Then I read through the lyrics, like, okay, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Which I think is kind of, I thought it was, no, it's a really, for me, really
Mhm.
deep song, dude. I mean, I was screaming along in the reaction. I was having a great time. Yeah, dude. Super good song. I know you said it's one of your bottom, but yeah.
It's for sure therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
Um,
That's awesome, dude. That's really
because
cool, man.
it's nice. I get to think about something. I don't want to use the word hate,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll use the word detest.
Sure.
It's about something I detest and something I love all in the same song.
Yeah.
So I find solace in thinking of the actual Gundam Floros and how well I rebuilt it and repainted it,
Mm-hmm.
and how it brings me peace.
I love that, dude. Yeah.
So I try to find ways to talk about things that hurt me while talking about things that I love. It's weird, man. Trying to figure this happy medium and balance between the two is going to drive me nuts.
Yeah, dude, I feel it, man. But again, I just love the honesty in your songs, man. Like I do, I mean, I do some lyric writing myself, and I kind of like take a lot of inspiration from stuff like that. Like I kind of write about just stuff that I go through, but try to put like a positive spin on it. And I think man, like sometimes like reading other people's stories, it really helps me like become a better person. And I read a lot of your guys' lyrics. I'm just like, it really, like for real, dude, has like impacted me in a better way. Like it makes me want to just keep going, like really, man, like I mean that sincerely. Like it's just great. Like everything on the album works for me, dude. And I'm really happy for you guys. I'm really excited to see how people, respond to it, how people, we see it live, when you get, more traction, you get more interviews. So I'm excited to see what people have to say for you, man. I'm really excited for you, dude. And I'm really happy that we got to meet and talk and kind of get to know one another a little bit. Yeah, dude. Like I really appreciate that. So
I hope I know we're gonna let a lot of you down, but I hope you are. I hope because I know like the set list, man. Like the set list we've been talking about, and I'm just like, so many people are gonna be hurt when I tell them we're not playing these certain songs.
Yeah.
Because the current set list is like I feel like the most possible, reasonable set list it could be, with in no order. Obviously, we're not going to get away with playing Stardust Memory unless you're like co-headlining or something because it's just too long. So I think we talked about finding a way to make a short version, or just doing a new intro entirely and saving Stardust Memory for like special shows.
Yeah.
But Pure Fury obviously is going to be in the set.
Right.
Cure for Wellness, I think it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Flauros obviously is going to be in the set.
Oh yeah.
The Mount Between Us and Hello Drifter.
Yes. Awesome. I can't wait for that, dude.
Like,
it's gonna be so
like, I mean, I would love to play Cura Nata, man. You know.
Yeah.
It's funny because I didn't know how people were gonna react to that song. I was like, I think it's fire, but I don't know if everyone else is gonna think it's fire.
Dude, I love it. Love it, dude. It's so good, man. As I said, dude, I listen to it all the time. I put the whole album on, but Cura Nata that one really caught my attention of like, man, these lyrics are, they're good, dude. All of them are good, but that one really gets me.
Do you feel like it might have been better if Cura Nata did it in the album like we had it originally?
I did see that on your post, but I think it's good where it's at. I mean, it probably could have been a good ending, but I think it's great where it's at, dude. I really do. I like it personally. But
it's funny because like the person who it's so weird how like, and I hate this because like I and maybe this is just me, but I feel like everyone thinks that like depending on what social media platform they're on, that they're talking to the entire band.
Yeah,
that is the case.
Right.
Like example, like YouTube. If you see Spirit Breaker commenting, that's Alex. It's not me or anyone else in the band. That's primarily just Alex. Instagram as Spirit Breaker is usually Alex, but it's a cross between Alex, Hannah, and Connor. But it's primarily Alex.
Gotcha.
Twitter is all Connor. Facebook is 90% me.
Okay.
So the Spirit Breaker on the Facebook is usually all me.
Okay.
Speaking of which, unless I wake up in the morning with a different email, the Mountain Between Us music video comes out tomorrow.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I wanted to make sure I told you that before I got out of here.
Yes. I'm excited, dude.
Man, oh my God.
I'm excited, dude. I'm really, really excited, man. I'm stoked for that, dude. That's gonna be awesome. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Nothing too bad, but it's all good, dude. That's the thing about technology. It's like we can't live without it, but sometimes it acts up a little bit. So, you know, it is what it is, man. But before we left off, you were saying that the Mountain Between Us music video I guess technically today for you, but
yeah, it's just it depends on politics. Sure. But to my knowledge, it definitely comes out tomorrow. I don't know if do you follow the Spirit Breaker page on Facebook at all?
I follow everything you guys do, so yes.
You should probably go look at it.
Okay, I probably
because you're gonna see something and you'll be like, "What is that?"
Oh dang, dude. I follow you guys everywhere. So every time I type in your name, Spirit Box pops up and it drives me insane.
I know, right?
Even though
I know.
Oh, dude. Sick.
Yeah.
I'll share that for sure. I'll give you guys some love.
Absolutely. That's the Ice Queen, you know.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Which it's so funny how life is, man. Like when we did that shoot, so she wasn't even there. It was something that Fleischman, our cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that John and I had talked about prior, like I think a month before we even shot. He was like, we're gonna do our thing. Maybe we can come up with a way for you to be trapped under ice. And then he was like, and then we're gonna have like some background footage of like a chick in like a dress and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about doing makeup on her and stuff, but I had no idea that image you're looking at now was what I was gonna get, because we obviously filmed all our stuff, and then he just filmed her like last week. Okay. Now, mind you, we shot the video for The Mountain Between Us June 29th.
Mm-hmm.
And we shot Flowers June 28th.
Yeah. Wow, dang. Busy stuff, man. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Man, this album process has been crazy, because it was like, at first everything was like, and then one day it just went. And we like, obviously this being our first time, we were like freaking out and panicking, because we had no idea like if it was going to be the way it was supposed to be, or if we were doing things right. Obviously there were a couple of mistakes that were made here and there, or things I wish we could have done differently.
Sure.
Like, obviously I wish we could have given you all the merch drop and the merch packages you deserved. If I had it my way, there'd be wall flags, which all that stuff will come.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a while. Like, oh yeah, I should probably mention that. We just got in our receipt for the merch order that we're doing for these new shirts that I would like to announce are coming out by at least Thursday or Friday.
Sick. Awesome.
I mean, because, well, I would let you take a guess of what song the shirt is for, but I feel like at this point it should be obvious. You want to guess?
Well, I'm gonna guess. Is it Flaros? Am I saying that right? Is that what it's for?
Nah, I wish. Okay, so what I think what's happening with Flaros is, so there's this guy, and he has this company / persona called True Gunpla, right?
Okay.
And what he does is he listens to heavy bands, and he's heavy into like the hobby community.
Yeah.
So he promotes all like the Gundam stuff, building giant robots, Power Rangers, like Kamen Rider, things like that.
Yeah.
And he has his own Gundam merch line.
Ooh.
But it's crazy because you know how like bands usually have the logo at the chest and everything.
Oh yeah.
So it says True Gunpla, but it's like deathcore font.
Ooh,
and then it's usually like a weird like decrepit or like decaying image of a Gundam on it. And so it's like it's his own designs and stuff. And I was like, man, that's really dope.
Yeah.
So it started off as a joke. I was like, man, so this Flaros collab, because we're both huge Gundam fans, and he was like kind of like, man, I'm waiting on you.
Yeah.
And like, so he told me he's got some other collabs coming out for like I think Body Snatcher.
Sick.
Which I need to ask that, because I'm like, are they Gundam fans? Because it'd blow my mind.
Yeah.
And then another band I can't remember the name of, but he's like, after I'm done doing those collabs, we'll talk about the Flaros collab.
Sick.
Now I would like to give you know the bros a Flaros shirt before that. But the problem with that is I have no idea what it would look like, because obviously Flaros, I'm just going to tell them like, yo, just do an original drawn image of Gundam Flaros. And then we'll probably put, which I feel like this is the hardest part with doing shirts like this, because don't quote me, but in 2019 or 2020, early 2020, we bought all of the designs for the possible merch drops for this album. So we bought the Pure Fury shirt a decade ago. We just haven't dropped it yet.
Wow.
That's insane. I know, right? Right? We like, man, like I have a folder of the Inhabitant shirt, the Mountain Between Us shirt, which is actually what's coming up. The Mountain Between Us shirt is the one that's going to release. Sick. In 2 colors though. So that'll be dope.
Yeah.
And it says the lyrics, which we just let the guy who designed it all, we let him choose. which he actually does a lot of the cooler designs for a lot of bands lately.
Yeah.
It's funny enough, it's Sleepwaker's drummer.
Oh, cool.
He does like designs for like Moths to Flames.
Oh, sick.
I think he practically does every Hollow Front design. I think he even did like the Loose Threads album art. I'm
cool.
Pretty sure.
Cool.
But yeah, like Frankie is amazing at what he does. So he did all our designs. Like I said, there's a Hollow Presence hoodie sitting in there somewhere. The Pure Fury and Wonder shirt, it's in red. Mountain Between a shirt, one's in black, one's in blue.
Sick.
And I think there's I want to say this is a Lux Nova shirt, but I need to see it again because it's got. Are you familiar with Ava Gallion at all?
I am not. No.
It's anime related. It's like a giant, skinny purple robot.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the band Desolate?
I don't think I am. Sorry for letting you down, dude. Yeah.
Okay. No, like Desolate is like they're really dope, but they are a smaller band too.
Cool.
They just came out with the EP last Friday.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Funny enough, there are two YouTube reaction people that I talk to in general, and that's you, and I think I always say her name wrong because I want to say Rachel, but I know her name's Rochelle and not Rachel.
Rochelle. Yeah, Rochelle Reacts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So she's actually doing also doing a, I want to say playthrough, but it's not called playthrough. It's a listen through. She's gonna listen to the album and put it on YouTube. There we go.
Sick.
But like primarily, I only watch like your videos and her videos.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. You know, I do what I can.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, dude. That means a lot, man.
Well, it's funny because I didn't, YouTube reaction things. Obviously, everyone has seen them, but it's not something that I had ever like really watched. I think the first time I had ever watched one is when someone did a reaction for our Hello Drifter video, and it was Hardcore King.
Hardcore King, yep, yeah.
but it's funny though because like Keem's like the stuff that he likes and the stuff that I like are so different. So it's rare that I watch a Keem video,
right? Because
he likes all the like the heavy like beat down deathcore stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm like, all this stuff's in 4/4, so
yeah,
probably. Yeah, I was like, I'm just kind of like when you start playing stuff in 13/8 and stuff. Like I think he does Sentinels surprisingly. So I was happy about that, but like most of the stuff, I'm like, it's just not my demographic.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man, like it's really cool to see like you and her like grow. So I'm like super like happy about that.
Thanks, man.
I'm always trying to see what the little guy's doing, man. Like, you know, because I'm the little guy, you know, so I just want to see other little guys do their thing.
I appreciate that, dude. That means a lot, man. Thank you. Yeah, I kind of just started. Man. I just started on I was like, I'll just. Well, this is actually not my first YouTube. I have like 4 other channels that I don't like to talk about. I mean, there's one channel where I do vocal covers.
Okay.
It's called Black Dude Screamer 19. I could send you the link. Yeah, Black Dude Screamer 19. I was super young when I made that, but I have that where I do some vocal covers and.
Man, I mean, if you want to talk about the dark ages, I have a YouTube that no one in my band has seen. Not even like my ex-girlfriend. Like I haven't showed this.
Yeah.
I always said, I was like, if we ever get signed and I ever go further, I will release it and show people.
Oh, well.
It's terrible. It's oh my God, it's terrible. It's I want to say the YouTube is like either it's called Silence the Fallen or it's called like Threats and Promises. It's terrible. It's like all of my old vocal covers from like I think 2009, man. Like, oh, it's rough,
dude. I would love to watch that. Well, I'm probably gonna be like, this is sick. This is really sick. Because I'm the same way about my covers, dude. Like when I go back and watch, I'm like, oh, these are awful. And everyone's like, dude, your vocals are top notch. I'm like, I don't really feel that way, maybe because I'm my own worst critic, but everyone's like, dude, your vocals are gnarly. I was like, thanks, man. But yeah, maybe I'll send you one. Maybe I'll you can check it out. I can get your opinion on it.
Man, I'll watch it, man. Like, trust me, nothing is like, I won't think it's cringe unless it's just a clip of me. But you know,
yeah,
because then at that point, oh my god, like, you know, everybody has like the dark age where the vocals are just like,
oh yeah, dude,
awful.
Oh yeah.
Like, if I still had the first song I ever tracked, I'd send it to you. But oh my god, like, it's
that's hilarious, dude. I know. Yeah, I go back and look at my very first vocal cover. It was awful. It was actually to a For Today song. It was Isaiah the Willing from their album Portraits.
That song slapped.
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that all right, so I don't know if you've ever realized this, but I'm going to blow your mind because Alex brought this up.
Okay.
You ever listen to the second I the Breather album, Truth and Purpose?
Yeah, that's the one with like the hand holding the Bible, right? Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I used to listen to that all the time back in the day.
The very first track has similar leads that are practically the same as Isaiah the Willing, and it's weird.
Dude,
yeah,
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to that tonight before I go to bed. I'm like, holy crap, dude, you're right.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Isaiah the Willing is the one where it's hear me now, God, take me to the world. Yeah, man, it's the same leads. It's the same freaking leads.
I'm gonna check that out, man. I'll listen to that before I go to bed, dude. That's hilarious. I'm gonna send you a message going like, oh my god, dude, you're right. You're 100% correct, dude.
Oh, it's so funny.
That's hilarious, dude.
I hate it. But there are so many things throughout life that I have discovered that I think the other band isn't aware of. For example, there's a I Wrestled a Bear Once song off of their first EP, and it has the exact same breakdown as an All Shall Perish breakdown.
Really?
And I'm like, yeah. And it's off of All Shall Perish's second album. It's called like This Isn't the Word. But the song is like, it means the same thing. Like the word means the same thing as desolate.
Oh.
Like, I think it's No Business on a Desolate Planet or something like that. It's off the second album.
Okay.
And there's a breakdown that's like a triplet chug breakdown. And I Wrestled a Bear Once does the exact same breakdown off the EP. And I was like, that's wild.
That's crazy, dude. What the heck?
This happens more than you think.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You ever hear about the A Day to Remember and My Children, My Bride breakdown?
I don't think
they're the exact same.
I'm a huge Day to Remember fan, but I didn't hear about that one.
It's the one that's like I know it's off of Homesick.
Oh, I could probably tell you.
And I want to say it's the that song. Whatever breakdown that.
Downfall of Us All.
My Children, My Bride's second album, the same album that has like Terra Firma on it. There's a song with a breakdown that is the exact same breakdown. I want to say it's Nuclear.
Okay, I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. I really am gonna check this out before I go to bed tonight. Okay.
And you're gonna be like, what?
Okay, I'm gonna write this down. That's awesome, dude. Okay, man. Well, I got a lot of homework I gotta do, so I gotta like go and check out all that stuff. But dude, for real, Trey, I want to say, dude, thank you. For taking time out of your schedule to sit down and have a chat. You made me laugh. You're funny. I learned a lot of information. Learned a lot of information about the music industry, about the album, kind of the behind the, which is exactly what I was looking for. Again, I like to learn about, music, people in the band, and those types of things. And I feel like I really got all that information. So, dude, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking the time to chat with me, dude. I really appreciate it. Yeah, man, absolutely. And dude, again, Cura Nata is out. Solid State Records. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. It's freaking fire. It's so good, man. Everybody listening to this, go listen to the album. Super sick, dude.
And much love to you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate dude. You too, bro. Again, thank you again, guys. This has been the Chandler Burton Podcast. Until next time, hope y'all take care. And Trey, thank you again, bro. I appreciate it.